Greetings, welcome to Facts About Everything. I'm your host, James Egan. Over the last few months, people have asked me to talk about many things about space. Nebula, comets, black holes, the solar system, galaxies, and it's going to take me a while to get through all of them, so I thought I'm just going to talk about the universe, just in general. Today's video was suggested by Dan, TDN, Zach, and Christian B. Rivas. So thanks guys for giving the suggestion to do a video about the universe, and keep your suggestions coming. If I don't talk about certain things like asteroids, meteoroids, or stars, or the sun, that's because they deserve their own list. I'll try to do a separate video about them in the near future. So the universe, we live there. What else can you say about it? Well, what color is the universe? And the answer is beige. That's not a joke. After astronomers studied 200,000 galaxies, they condensed and compressed the color of every galaxy, and the color always came out looking beige. Since beige is not a particularly cool color, cosmologists tried to change the name of the color to cosmic latte. It did not catch on. And that is the first of 100 facts about the universe. Let's dive in. Galaxies formed 850 million years after the Big Bang. We'll get to the Big Bang, don't worry. A gas cloud in the Virgo constellation called RxJ1347 measured 300 million degrees, which is the hottest temperature in the known universe. That's 20 times hotter than the sun's core. The most common unit of measurement in space is a light year. 1 light year equals the distance it would take light to travel 1 year. Since light is the fastest thing in the universe, 186,000 miles per second, this is the most logical way to measure vast distances when trying to comprehend the size of the universe. And in case you're wondering, 1 light year is 5.9 trillion miles. In 1922, the furthest humanity could see with telescopes was 100,000 light years away. In 2012, the observable universe was 93 billion light years. That's 548.7 septillion miles wide. But that was in 2012. It increases in size every second. A lot of people don't realize that there's other measurements of space besides light years. The distance between a planet and its sun is usually measured in astronomical units, or AUs. 1 AU is the average distance between the Earth and the sun, which is 93 million miles. So Earth is 1 AU from the sun, Mercury is 0.39 AUs from the sun, and Neptune is 30 AUs from the sun. If an alien in a galaxy 65 million light years away were to look at Earth through a telescope right now, they would be looking at the dinosaurs, because it would take 65 million years for the light to reach that area of space. This means that any potential aliens in the universe who is over 65 million light years away is oblivious to our existence. Light years are not the largest unit of length. A parsec is the longest unit that we use. 1 parsec is 3.26 light years. That's 19 trillion miles. In 2011, astronomers found water in space, just floating around. The water was in a gigantic vapor cloud near a black hole. This cloud, known as the reservoir, had 140 trillion times more water than all the oceans of Earth. A supercluster is a neighborhood full of hundreds of galaxies. Our galaxy exists within many other galaxies inside the Laniakea supercluster. Many sources state that this is the Virgo supercluster, but this is untrue. The Laniakea supercluster is 520 million light years across. In Star Trek, Spock lives on the planet Vulcan. In the Star Trek universe, Vulcan resides in the orbit of the star 40 Eridani A. So far, astronomers have yet to find a planet orbiting that star, but we can still dream. I've never seen Star Trek. I don't know who Spock is. He's like the guy with the helmet. There could be as many as 500 billion galaxies in the universe, and each one of those galaxies can contain as many as 1 billion stars. Johannes Kepler is one of the most significant people in astronomy. He is considered a founder of modern astronomy and formed the 3 laws of planetary motion. An apogee is when an object that orbits the Earth is at its furthest point. An apoapsis is when an object, like say the moon, is at its furthest from a celestial body apart from the sun or Earth. A void is a region of space that has absolutely no matter. It is also known as a vacuum. The largest void in the universe is 1.8 billion light years across. To understand anything about space, astronomers had to understand light. The simplest way to describe light is an energy wave that affects electric and magnetic fields. The largest structure in the known universe is the Hercules corona Borealis wall. It is 10 billion light years across. It is made of a vast number of superclusters of stars. By the way, we found out stuff about space like every 3 days. Every one of my facts is invalidated by an astronomer and an astrophysicist. But I could still be wrong. We could find something, object that's like 40 billion times bigger than that one tomorrow. So if you want to disprove any of my facts, go for it. I won't be offended. Explosions are possible in space, but they're not as visually impressive as movies show. Explosions need oxygen. Space doesn't have any. Explosions make a deafening sound. Space exists in a vacuum where sound can't carry. Okay, you knew this was going to happen, so let's talk about the big one. The universe reacts as if there's a form of matter in it, but we can't see it or directly detect it. Although scientists can see this mysterious matter changing the gravity of galaxies, they can't see the matter directly. This is known as dark matter. Despite the fact we don't know what it is, it makes up approximately 96% of the universe. Dark energy is a negative gravity that plays a role in the acceleration in the expansion of the universe. To date, nobody truly understands how it works. Okay, the universe is beige. Didn't see that coming. Let's do that again. What shape is the universe? Pick the dumbest shape you could imagine. I guarantee the actual answer is going to be even more ridiculous. The universe is shaped like a horse saddle. I mean, the actual term is hyperboloid, but nobody's going to call it that. Okay, here's another one we all see in movies. What happens to a human if they're exposed to space? It would be incredibly painful and freezing, but despite what movies show, your head or eyes wouldn't explode. Instead, you would die from a lack of oxygen within 4 minutes. We can never see how big the universe is because we can only observe where light has reached us. 5% of the universe is made of atoms. Isaac Newton used classic physics to understand the universe. Albert Einstein used relativistic physics to calculate how the universe worked. Werner Heisenberg used quantum physics to try and understand what knits reality together. These sets of physics largely ignore each other and even contradict each other. Many scientists wish there was some theory that could connect these three concepts together. This is called the grand unification theory. It may not exist, but it's a nice idea. The universe has been expanding since the dawn of time. Scientists assume that the expansion will decrease over time and eventually stop. However, studies show that its expansion is accelerating. There is no proof to show that the expansion will be slowing down anytime soon. And now let's look at something pretty depressing, how the universe is going to end. We don't know, but there's several theories. One of them is the Big Crumble. This theory suggests the more the universe expands, the more it will stretch itself too far until it cracks open. The Big Crunch is a theory that the universe will one day stop expanding and instead will begin to shrink. It will end with everything collapsing into each other. This is a theory that most physicists accept because it's backed up by Einstein's theory of relativity. The oscillating universe theory is the idea that if the universe were to collapse into itself, as the Big Crunch theory suggests, the force would be so powerful that it would create a new universe. Some have suggested that this is how our universe got started. For all we know, our universe could be the millionth time the universe was created, but it still doesn't explain how the very first universe was formed. God? In 100 trillion years, all the hydrogen of the universe will be exhausted, ending the life of every star. All matter in the universe will become liquefied in 100 vigintillion years. You can't just make up numbers. Okay, let's talk about specific things in the universe. Let's start with comets. A comet's tail is formed by solar wind, so no matter what direction the comet is moving in, the tail will always face away from the nearest star. The most famous comet is Halley's Comet, which appears every 75 years. The last time it appeared was on March 8th, 1986, and it will appear again in 2061. So that's 53 years from now, so get that on your calendar. Halley's Comet was identified by geophysicist and meteorologist Edmund Halley. Although the comet had been seen countless times before, it was Halley who realized that the comet sightings of 1456, 1531, 1607, and 1682 were the same comet. He predicted it would appear again in 1758. Although he did not live to see it, since he died in 1742, his prediction was correct, and the comet was named in his honor. When comets were first seen, they looked fuzzy because telescopes weren't advanced enough to see their shapes. Because of this, they were known as hairy stars. The ball of the comet is known as a coma, which is Latin for hair. A comet's tail can be over 7 million miles long. Despite the staggering size of a comet's tail, they have incredibly low density. Most of the tail only has a few hundred atoms per cubic centimeter. If that sounds too sciencey for you to understand, your breath is a quadrillion times denser. Sometimes a comet's tail can split into two. At least 11 comets have been explored by spacecraft. Okay, we all make mistakes, even the best of us. Einstein, pretty smart guy, didn't believe in comets. He thought comets weren't real. he just thought they were an illusion created by a telescope's lens. Which doesn't make any sense because you can see a comet with the naked eye. On November 12, 2014, the Rosetta space probe was launched towards the awfully named Churyumov-Gerasimenko. Rosetta sent in a lander module called Philae. Philae is the first lander to successfully touch the surface of a comet. This is the best fact ever about comets. When Halley's Comet was about to pass Earth in 1910, some people were so scared it would destroy the world, they bought anti-comet pills, which if you take them, you become impervious to comets. Now let's look at black holes. When a star is over 2.8 times the mass of the sun, it will turn into a black hole when it comes to the end of its life cycle. A black hole absorbs everything. I don't mean rocks and stuff, it absorbs light. If you think that sounds nuts, it devours time. Black holes actually consume time, so it becomes indistinguishable from regular time. If a person fell into a black hole, that person would perceive time normally, but to an observer, the fall would take an eternity. Contrary to what many diagrams show, black holes are not funnel-shaped, nor are they flat. Black holes are spherical. Also, black holes are not black. They're invisible. The black hole appearance is from the light that the black hole is devouring. When a black hole devours matter, the matter elongates before being torn apart on an atomic level. If you were sucked into a black hole, you would become thinner than a hair, but would stretch out so you were about a mile long. This phenomenon is called spaghettification. Nobody truly knows what happens to the matter that a black hole absorbs. Some scientists believe that there's an anti-black hole, known as a white hole, that spews out all the matter that a black hole has sucked in. Most astronomers believe the existence of white holes is highly unlikely. Black holes are often known as the most destructive force in the universe. So you must be thinking, how many are in our galaxy? 10? 20? 100? Nope. There is 100 million of them. Stephen Hawking developed a theory in university that stated that the universe was created from a black hole. Although this isn't true, his teachers found the concept fascinating. Many people believe that once an object is trapped in a black hole's gravity field, there's nothing it can do to escape. Even Stephen Hawking believed this. But what does he know? There's an area around the black hole called the event horizon. It's usually referred to as the no turning back point. Once you hit this mark, you're going to the black hole and there's nothing that can stop it. Or so we believe until recently. If two particles hit the event horizon at the same time, one will go in and one will escape. I've already explained this in my Stephen Hawking video. If you want to learn more about that, check it out. Some theorists believe that black holes are a type of star that we don't fully understand called a magnetic eternally collapsing object, or MECO. A normal-sized black hole has triple the mass of the sun. A normal-sized black hole is called a stellar mass. The biggest black hole ever discovered was 17 million times bigger than our sun. Some black holes are not stationary and they travel throughout the universe, sucking in all types of matter. These are called wandering black holes and can travel over 3 million miles per hour. No one knows what causes these types of black holes to travel. You know what's scarier than that? There's one in our galaxy. Most people assume black holes work like a cosmic vacuum cleaner, but this is an oversimplification. Hypothetically, if the sun turned into a black hole, the Earth would not get sucked in. The Earth doesn't orbit the sun because it's a star, it orbits it because it has a lot of gravity. Black holes also have a lot of gravity, so the Earth would revolve around the black hole. Researchers from the Astronomic Observatory of the Universitat de Valencia have recently witnessed lightning storms near black holes. A supermassive black hole is a black hole that is dramatically larger than a regular one. These types of black holes can be billions of times heavier than a star. A supermassive black hole exists in the center of nearly every galaxy in the universe. The first supermassive black hole was found in our own galaxy on February 15th, 1974 by Bruce Ballack and Robert Brown. Now let's look at the solar system. The solar system is 4.568 billion years old. The solar system diagram that you have seen since childhood is not even remotely accurate. This diagram was created for convenience, not accuracy. Most diagrams will show the planets lined up. This only happens every few millennia. Also, the diagram shows the planets too close to each other. If the planets were as close to each other as the diagram shows, each planet's moons would collide into one another. Also, Pluto wouldn't be visible on any diagram of the solar system. Pluto is so far away that if you had to scale the sun so it was the size of a beach ball, Pluto would be 1.5 miles away. Because Pluto is no longer classified as a planet, you would assume that there are 8 planets in our solar system. However, it's easier to say that there's just 8 official planets. Scientists keep finding new planets, but they can't keep updating the solar system diagram as it would be too complex. Scientists have found planets beyond Pluto like Sedna, Xena, and many others. Beyond Neptune is the Kuiper Belt. This region contains trillions of asteroids and comets. It is similar to the asteroid belt, except it's 20 times wider and 200 times bigger. The International Astronomical Union is responsible for naming new moons. Before the IAU, moons were named after the astronomers who discovered them. Now let's look at our galaxy, the Milky Way. It is 100,000 light years across. There's approximately 300 billion stars in our galaxy. Our neighboring galaxy is Andromeda. It has over 1 trillion stars and is twice the size of the Milky Way. Our galaxy will merge with the Andromeda galaxy in about 7 billion years. On a clear night, you can see things up to 19 quadrillion miles away. Astronomers recognize 88 constellations in the sky. The Milky Way moves at 1.6 million miles per hour. We can kind of comprehend how big the solar system is. We can't do it with the Milky Way, but let's just try. If the Milky Way was the size of the United States, the solar system would be the size of a quarter. Any photograph of the Milky Way galaxy is actually of a different galaxy called Messier 74. It's impossible to take a picture of the Milky Way since it's 100,000 light years across, and we're inside it. There's a part of the universe called the Zone of Avoidance, or the ZOA. The ZOA is the part of the universe we can't see because the Milky Way is in the way. The ZOA obscures 20% of the night sky. You knew this was coming. Let's look at the Big Bang. 13.8 billion years ago, a very, very tiny particle started to expand at the speed of light. Within the first split second of this expansion, the particle went from being far smaller than an atom to the size of a grapefruit. That doesn't sound that big, but that's because it's almost impossible to comprehend how small atoms are. To quote John Green, who has his YouTube channel Big History and Crash Course, in much less than the blink of an eye, if it were originally the size of a tennis ball, it would have inflated to over 90 billion light years across. This sudden inflation is known as the Big Bang. According to scientists, space-time was created at the Big Bang. This means that nothing, including time, existed before the Big Bang. So the Big Bang was literally the first thing to ever happen in existence. Please don't try to understand that. When the Big Bang occurred, the universe was 100 nonillion degrees. Okay, I'm going to say something. I'm going to regret it, but I'm going to say it. Although many people use the Big Bang Theory as an argument to prove God does not exist, the theory was concocted by a priest called Johannes LeMaitre. He was a physicist from Belgium, and he devised a theory to show that science and religion could coexist. Sadly, his peers dismissed his theories. Even Einstein thought his theory was baseless. However, in 2013, the Big Bang was proven to be fact, not theory. It is also worth mentioning that Lemaitre's theory was originally called the primeval atom. Scientists called it the Big Bang theory to mock him. He would have never referred to it as a bang because it wasn't an explosion, it was an expansion. Before the Big Bang theory became a popular concept, scientists believed that the universe was in a never-changing state. They believed it could not grow or shrink, only maintain its size. They also believed that the universe had always existed and it never started. About 10 seconds after the universe was created, the laws of the universe, like gravity and electromagnetism, were set in stone. When the universe was created, matter and antimatter were formed. If matter and antimatter collide, they annihilate each other from existence. When the Big Bang occurred, 99.99999% of all matter and antimatter was destroyed. This means that the entire universe today is made of 0.00001% of the matter there originally was. Within 3 minutes of the Big Bang, nuclei and atoms were created. If you turn on an old television to a channel without a signal, you should see and hear static. That sound is cosmic radiation from the Big Bang. Now that television and radios have made the transition to digital, it's getting harder to hear this incredible but annoying sound. Robert Wilson and Arno Penzias won a Nobel Prize in Physics for their research validating the Big Bang theory. They would have proved it sooner, but there was a sound that kept interfering with their equipment. In 1964, the two physicists were trying to measure the brightness of the sky with a microwave detector, but a constant buzzing sound kept interrupting the frequency. They learned that a pair of pigeons were roosting in their telescope. Once the birds were removed, Wilson and Penzias could hear background microwave radiation confirming the Big Bang Theory. Okay, let's look at nebulae. Nebula is Latin for cloud. A nebula is a cloud of soot made of helium, hydrogen, and other gases. They often form beautiful and colorful shapes. Most nebulae are hundreds of light years in diameter. 99.999999999999999% of a nebula is completely empty. Okay, most astronomical terms are very boring, but nebula have wonderful names such as the Pillars of the Earth, the Cat's Eye Nebula, the Horsehead Nebula, and my personal favorite, the God's Eye, which is the cover of my book, 1000 Out of This World Facts About Space. That's on Amazon, by the way, so buy it. The God's Eye is so beautiful that I've seen it many times on lists on top 10 pictures that look photoshopped, but they aren't. It's usually ranked at number 1. The first nebula was discovered by Charles Messier in 1764. The Orion Nebula is the only nebula that can be seen with the naked eye. It is below Orion's belt and is often mistaken for a star. By observing nebulae, astronomers can watch new solar systems forming. The Boomerang Nebulae is the coldest natural place in the universe, measuring 272.15 degrees Celsius. That is less than 1 Kelvin, which means that it's just under absolute zero. And the final fact, it's a very short and quick one, but it is amazing. Wi-Fi was invented to find black holes. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I've done a video about every planet in the solar system, but if there's any other aspects of space that you want me to talk about, let me know and I'll upload a video as soon as possible. To learn more facts, check out my books on Amazon. They're available on paperback and Kindle. Thanks for watching. See you again.